Managing finances. When a person lacks capacity to manage their finances, there are a number of ways that family carers can help them. Many family carers become appointees for their relatives' benefits. This doesn't cost anything. A deputyship for property and affairs covers a broader range of financial decisions. Pete and Wendy Crane chose deputyship and a circle of support to help their son Nicky to manage his finances. Nicky has recently moved out of his parents' home into his own house.
Nicky lives an independent lifestyle. He has a great life. In the old days, Nicky would have been in an institution. And in fact, when Nicky was very young, we were told by the authorities to put Nicky in an institution. And our story and Nicky's story really began when Wendy said, "No, I won't do that." I would have done it because I was a bank clerk. I would have done what I was told.
We've always felt that both our children should have the same opportunities. So when Sarah left home and decided to purchase her own house, we thought, well, if Sarah's been able to do that, then we should be able to do that with Nick. He should be able to have a mortgage in his own name. And that's what started the process off.
Everybody who gets to know Nick really well will recognise that Nicky can let you know when he's happy and when he's not happy. So
he uses body language.
Yeah, very much. If formal decisions have to be made, then it's just not possible for Nicky to formally do that. And so ever since he was born, we've assumed that responsibility.
I think we only realised that we'd have to use the Mental Capacity Act was when we saw this property for Nick, and the mortgage broker we approached to do the sale said, well, you need to become deputy before we can start any other proceedings.
Becoming a deputy has given Wendy the financial authority to make decisions in Nicky's best interests.
With the benefit of hindsight, our feeling is that any parents of someone with level of intellectual impairment that Nicky's got, we would advise them to try and get the Mental Capacity Act sorted out as soon as possible, really. And then the rest of someone's life becomes relatively straightforward, because in law, someone will have the authority to get involved with making financial decisions and sign for financial decisions. Like any child that moves out, the family budget and the child's budget separate, which is quite right and quite normal. But I feel that one of the big benefits to Nicky of the Mental Capacity Act is to formally separate that, to formally make sure that his money is his money for his benefit and has to be accounted for.
Someone who wants to become a deputy may seek legal assistance in making an application to the Court of Protection.
At the end of the day, you can do it all yourself, the paperwork, but we feel much happier. We feel we were doing the right thing for Nick to seek professional advice, and that did cost money.
Yeah.
But in the long run, we think it's money well spent because we know the paperwork's done properly.
In addition to the fees for applying to become a deputy, there are annual costs for supervision by the Office of Public Guardian.
I don't think when we started the process we realised the financial implications. We didn't realise how much it costs, we didn't realise there was a yearly bond, and we didn't realise at the time that we were supervised afterwards, and we had supervision fees and someone coming down to our house to check Nick's accounts. I think when we had to sort of go through this process, I think we found the words court protection was quite scary for us. And it was quite daunting when the person rang up from the Office of Public Guardian to say she was from the court protection and she wanted to come down and do a visit. It immediately makes you feel very apprehensive, and wearing is quite sort of scary for us, that first visit. But now we've realised that she was quite a humane person and that she was giving advice and helping us. It made it feel we're more comfortable with it now. She actually explained to us more about what my role should be and how to account for everything. But she was quite supportive, and she was really pleased that, as I say, that Nick had a circle of support and that it showed categorically that we were discussing situations of Nick's finance with other people in the circle. So it fitted the criteria quite well.
And they were really, really pleased to see the record of the circle meeting, so they could see that the decisions Wendy was taking officially had been discussed by an unpaid group of friends, people who knew Nicky very well and knew what he would want, what were good decisions for him. So it all kind of fits together for us, doesn't it?
Mm.
And I think where it left me was much more reassured about Nicky's long-term future, because the knowledge that this person or someone doing that person's job would always be in the background, making sure that the things that were the money that was being spent in Nicky's name was being done properly, was really reassuring, a really good feeling. And you know, I know we talk about the complication and we talk about the hassle, but at the end of the day, if you feel that your kids are living a good life and they're going to be well looked after, that's really important. Where we're at the moment is that, you know, that we are a couple and we have got each other, and in a legal sense, if something were to happen to one of us, the other one would assume the responsibility. I think that we do have to have a plan for a deputy to replace you.
Well, I think we have already discussed that, haven't we? We have got a reserve deputy.
Nicky's circle of support also ensures that people who know him well will be involved in managing his finances.
The people in the circle, without realising it, are already suggesting that they could take over some of the aspects that me and Pete have always done.
Wendy's brother has already kind of let us know that if we weren't around, he would be happy to act unpaid as the person who would keep an eye on Nicky's money to make sure that Nicky didn't get ripped off, basically.
And it's nice to be able to plan it all without it being at a crisis point. You know, we can plan now for the future and to make sure that Nick is okay if we're not capable of running his life any longer.
This is kind of doing the job properly. You know, it seems to us that this is the right way. Everything's sorted in a good way for Nick.
I'm Nick's deputy. He's got a living person-centred plan. He's got an active circle of support. I feel at the moment we've covered as many angles that we could cover.
If this film has raised issues that you would like to talk about, the Family Carer Support Service will try to help. You can telephone them on 0117 906 1751 or email familycarersupport@hft.org.uk.